How does a very low calorie ketogenic diet impact gut health? We have a new study to look at that answers this question. Now, let's talk about this study. The study was using a formula diet, basically liquid calories. They were taking a ketogenic drink for most of their meals, and then they were consuming a meal which was high in protein, and they were also consuming vegetables with the goal of getting between 20 and 50 grams of carbohydrates per day, and this was validated by urinary ketones. And what they found was in this entire group of individuals, of obese individuals, they found that this very low calorie ketogenic diet, which was 800 calories a day, actually made their gut health worse. It increased their intestinal permeability, increased a marker of dysbiosis and small bacterial overgrowth, and increased something called lipopolysaccharide in their blood, which is a component of the cell wall of gram-negative bacteria, meaning bacteria we're getting from the gut into the blood. But there is some nuance to this study. They did a subgroup analysis, and in this subgroup analysis, they identified some individuals who, while they had normal intestinal permeability at the beginning of the study, had this skewed marker, urinary indican, which showed that they had some level of dysbiosis or small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. And in these individuals, these are the individuals who we saw have an increase in intestinal permeability and an increase in lipopolysaccharide in their blood. So 40% of the individuals did much worse. This is really interesting because urinary indican is actually a marker of protein fermentation, showing they had too much protein fermentation going on in either their small intestine, which is the more likely scenario, or their colon. Now, we have another study that looked at basically the same thing, a very low calorie diet, which was not ketogenic, and this actually improved intestinal permeability and decreased lipopolysaccharide binding protein, which indicates lower lipopolysaccharide in the blood. So this does seem to be driven by the ketogenic diet. Again, this was only 40% of the individuals, 60% had no change at all. Important to point out, inflammatory markers were not high in any of these groups, so there likely was a benefit to the ketogenic diet overall. However, if you're one of these individuals and you keep pushing, you may see some gastrointestinal problems. And based on plasma indican or urinary indican as the driver, you're going to see things more similar to like diarrhea, hydrogen sulfide overgrowth. Hydrogen sulfide bacteria are known to kind of increase diarrhea, possibly issues with bile acid metabolism that could drive diarrhea as well. But this is a really interesting study. Probably the biggest take home I would take from this study isn't necessarily that no one should do a ketogenic diet. It's that some individuals will not do well on a ketogenic diet. These individuals were either not breaking down their protein, not absorbing that protein, or it was just sitting because they have a very slow, what's called a migrating motor complex, which is what moves things through your gut during your fasting period. So keep that in mind. Very low calorie ketogenic diet, while it may lead to weight loss, can actually cause some gut problems that you may not want to deal with down the road. If you want to learn more about this study, please check in the description below. I have this study as well as that other study showing the very low calorie diet that was not ketogenic actually improved intestinal permeability. Thanks for listening and take care.